This third entry in the high-stakes action-adventure franchise was released stateside on August 15, 2014, where it managed to squeak out $15 million in profit above its $90 million budget. Not that the plot matters any, but the 126-minute narrative follows lead mercenary Sylvester Stallone as he recruits a new, younger team of killers to take out his old partner, a ruthless arms dealer. Having finally ditched his unsightly mustache, Stallone leads the absolutely enormous cast with his usual dry wit and excellent fighting skills, but is far too serious for the ridiculous premise. Sadly, the same can't be said for anyone else. Although a number of players from previous installments like Chuck Norris, Bruce Willis, and Jean-Claude Van Damme haven't returned, the cast here is something that would have made 14-year-old Jonathan wet his bed. Alright, here we go. The Expendables 3 features Jason Statham, Antonio Banderas, Wesley Snipes, Dolph Lundgren, Kelsey Grammer, Randy Couture, Terry Crews, Kellen Lutz, Ronda Rousey, Glenn Powell, Victor Ortiz, Robert Davi, Jet Li, Mel Gibson, Harrison Ford, and Arnold Schwarzenegger! And while this is unquestionably the greatest group of action stars ever assembled, it also pains me to say how horribly mismanaged and wasted they all are. Lees and Ortiz don't even punch anyone! Statham is still second billed here, but is absent for a great deal of the picture, finally returning late to bail his friend out of a jam by remarking, "You were stupid enough to get yourself into this mess, and we're the only ones crazy enough to get you out of it." Meanwhile, the other returning players, Lundgren, Couture, Crews, and Lee, have literally less than 15 lines of dialogue between them, and should have probably just been removed entirely. The new fighters get a smidge more development, but honestly, they don't deserve it. Rousey's performance is especially awful, seeming confused and unsure of herself in the massive sausage fest. I hope Stallone isn't leveraging these young guns to take over the franchise in future installments, because none of them are interesting enough for the task, and it goes against the very concept of what birthed these movies in the first place. It was wonderful to see Davi in a film again, but his single-scene appearance amounts to little more than a cameo. Free from his tax evasion and direct-to-video exile, Snipes is a welcome addition, and definitely still has his ass-kicking chops, even delivering a great self-referential joke at his own expense. Grammer is featured briefly during a recruitment phase montage and lends credibility and gravitas to the slower, plot-building aspect of the story. Ford has some of the best and most vulgar lines, and it was wonderful to see Schwarzenegger once again yell, "Get to the chopper!" But the stand-up performances come from Banderas and Gibson, the former bringing some truly amusing comic relief and Latin charisma, while the latter is an excellent and imposing villain. In an effort to convey how sinister Gibson's war crimes have been, Stallone has shown a classified dossier with photos of dead bodies, immediately causing him to well up with emotion, in what is the most laughable and pointless scene in The Expendables 3. Are we really meant to believe that these hardened hitmen would weep at the sight of death or destruction, especially after they themselves have murdered countless hundreds of henchmen? The underutilized and bloated cast issues aside, this movie does unite the Terminator and Indiana Jones on screen together for the first time, and that's pretty damn cool. A cold open sequence where our heroes rescue Snipes from a maximum security train has some genuine thrills and solid gunplay, like when the team uses a high-tension wire to clothesline enemy sentries on a locomotive's roof. But the watered-down PG-13 rating is an inescapable misstep for the picture. Unable to show blood or really violent action, every scene is chopped to pieces, leaving nothing but a loud and messy experience vaguely resembling explosive carnage. I honestly don't think there was a single action shot lasting longer than a second here, resulting in a confusing experience that never allows the stunts to breathe or the battles to have any chronology.
Hang on! Found you a ride! Time to go! Go, go! How much we get paid for this? Not enough.
With awful and incomprehensible cinematography, it's hard to tell what's a visual effect and what's practical, but a number of explosions and other sequences look decidedly computer animated, which leads me to believe director Patrick Hughes blew all of his money securing the cast. The heavy drum-like beat of Brian Tyler's score is mostly reworked cues from the previous films, but is serviceable enough. Unraveling at an unrelenting yet laborious pace, this is a preposterous experience that has absolutely no lasting impact on moral integrity. For fans of these iconic heroes, The Expendables 3 delivers enough enjoyment for a single viewing, but the bloodless and poorly constructed fights are a disappointing waste of superstar potential. Well, now that that's out of my system, here's some of your reviews. There's no other way to say it. Everyone thought this is a huge letdown. But still, it was decently enjoyable. You scored it a 5 out of 10. Not nearly on par with its predecessors, I'm reluctantly scoring this an alright as well.